Alright, let's go ahead and discuss Roman Reigns. This video is about Roman Reigns and the myth of him being over. This guy is not over. He's not. And I'm not just saying that because I don't like the guy. There's been plenty of talents that I didn't like. Right? I was never a Hulk Hogan fan. I never liked Hulk Hogan. I always thought he was corny, even when I was a little kid. Right? I never liked Hulk Hogan. I was a bigger fan of the Rockers and Hart Foundation and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels when they were in the intercontinental scene, right? And even the Macho Man and the Roddy Pipers. I was just a bigger fan of those wrestlers than I was of Hulk Hogan. But I've always acknowledged that Hulk Hogan was over. Whether I liked it or I didn't, he was the biggest name in that company. He was a driving force of that company. And without Hulk Hogan there, you would feel the impact of his presence not being there. That's just a reality. There's been other wrestlers that I did not like, but I knew they were over. Okay, so I've never been a fan of John Cena, ever. And in recent years, at least for the last 4 or 5 years, I've always advocated John Cena should turn heel, right? But I will recognize that there was a point in time when John Cena, even though I didn't like him, even though I couldn't stand the Thugonomics character, and it was mind-boggling to me, but he was over. So this is not about me not liking Roman Reigns and not wanting to accept the fact that he's over. This is about the WWE's stubbornness and insistence in pushing this individual who is clearly not over with the fans. They're force-feeding this guy to the fans. And the list of reasons we are given are just simply unbelievable. The list of crap that we're given is just unbelievable. What have I heard? Number one, right? In no particular order here, but number one, and it's amazing how this works, okay? Roman Reigns was being booed and being told to leave. They were telling him to shut the fuck up, the whole nine. Okay, he was being told all these things by the WWE Universe. That's what they called it, right? But by the fans, right? The fans were chanting that. And what do you get? The announcer saying, "Oh, look at they spin it, right? Oh, they call him passionate, and oh, look at all the emotion that Roman Reigns invokes." And so they, in fairness, they try to look for the positives in it. The next night on SmackDown, they have JBL, okay, force-fed a line, obviously, and he comes out and he says, "Oh, this is WrestleMania weekend, when, you know, they boo the people that should be cheered, and they cheer the people that should be booed," right? It's just stupid. Dumb. I never saw a weekend when, it never happened, WrestleMania weekend, where Stone Cold was getting booed by the fans that loved him. Or I never saw that, right? But let's kind of examine this piece by piece. Number one, what I was going to mention was Triple H was on a Stone Cold podcast, and you can look it up. And he's talking about how times have changed and social media, this, that, and the third. And he mentioned Roman Reigns, right? And he claims, Triple H claims that, oh, the fans are saying he's not over, but, you know, I mean, the fans are just so difficult nowadays. And, you know, but, hey, one arena, I mean, Roman Reigns gets booed out of the building, but then all of a sudden, in another arena, I mean, they go crazy for Roman Reigns. You wouldn't believe it, you know. Like, I don't know if he said you wouldn't believe it. I just know I don't believe it. Because it's been quite a while since I've seen an arena that is at the very least 50-50, okay, for or against Roman Reigns. It's been a very long time. Because it's always been at best 60-40 with Roman Reigns at 40 as far as people that like him, right? And it's only been decreasing dramatically, right? And that's just the reality. This guy is not over with the fans. He's not. So why is it Triple H? I'm still waiting for the televised broadcast of people that are going crazy for Roman Reigns. I mean, they're so desperate that, to me anyway, they appear like plants to me. Like, they'll dress a woman in a way that women do not dress up at Raw events, right? To show her going crazy for Roman Reigns, but she's like by herself. I mean, this is absolutely insane, right? And why are they doing this? Because according to them, the girls women love Roman Reigns, right? And it's just, you know what it is. It's just all this male demographic. They just can't stand the fact that Roman Reigns is loved by the women, that their own girlfriends are, having wet dreams about Roman Reigns, and they just can't stand it, right? That's basically what they're saying. Here's a problem, okay? So you're telling me heterosexual females might be attracted to Roman Reigns, right? So that applies to about 90% of the male roster, right? If you're talking about in-shape athletes in the WWE, I'm sure a lot of heterosexual females are attracted to just about 90% of the fucking roster, okay? So why aren't they pushing Dolph Ziggler then? Women go crazy for him? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Women went crazy for Val Venus. I didn't see him, headline 3 straight WrestleManias. Hell, women went crazy for Rick Rude. And yeah, she did play the whole your women wishes they were with me role. But he was a heel. So this doesn't fly. That's a stupid reason to say he's over. Or the women love him. Like, really? Because if it applies to one guy, it's got to apply to everybody. Okay, and even if, let's say it's 100% true, right? That's what it is. Then why wasn't Shawn Michaels getting booed when he was a face? I mean, the women love Shawn Michaels. I mean, there's a lot of, wrestlers that the women love. The women love The Rock. Yet he gets cheered by men. So I don't understand, right? This whole notion that that's what it is. That's stupid. That's what that is. The crowd reaction. Well, a reaction's a reaction. They're actually starting to sell to people the fact that the fans today just don't know how to react. The fans are just being rebellious nowadays. Roman is clearly the good guy, and the reason you know this is because if you watch the post show of the Raw, okay? Because I only caught it because I was going to watch Goldberg's speech, right? But Jerry Lawler comes out and he says, and I quote, "I'm an old school guy. I come from a time where you cheered the good guy and booed the bad guy, but Roman Reigns is a good guy. But nowadays, the fans just boo the good guy," right? And they're talking about this like if it's something new or something. Like if the fans can't turn on a face. Like if that's something new. There's nothing new about that. You know what's new? What's new is the fact that they can't make an audible and take advantage of a situation when it's right in front of their face. And as much as I've wanted, for example, for a guy like John Cena to turn heel for the last about 7 years now, not even John Cena was this obvious. I mean, this is absolutely insane. This guy's been getting booed after winning the Royal Rumble. They've cheered when he's gotten beat, right? They booed him out of the building after every single WrestleMania main event. No matter this time because he ended the Undertaker streak. What about last year when Triple H was being the biggest fucking heel possible and they still booed him out of the building? What about the year before that when they clearly did not want him to win, when they booed him walking out to the ring right before his match against the heel Brock Lesnar? They don't like this guy. There's nothing to like about him, right? But we keep hearing, what the fans don't know what they want. There's nothing new about it, guys. The Rock was a face and he was getting booed, right? You know what The Rock did? He turned heel. That's what he did, right? Notice how back in the day they would react to what the fans did. They didn't stand around and say, Well, we don't get it. I mean, Rocky Maivia is a good guy. Why are they booing him? I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, he's, you know, a third-generation wrestler, and, you know, he has a good story. Why are people booing him? Well, at least he gets a reaction. Like, that's not what they did. They turned him heel. He turned heel, and it ended up being one of the best moves he ever made. It was a huge... The Rock was born. It was a great investment. When Bret Hart was getting booed as the face and Stone Cold was getting cheered as the heel, that was back in the mid-90s. And they're talking about this being something new. But you know what they did? They did the double turn at WrestleMania 13. And it's one of the best moments in WrestleMania history. Bret Hart went ahead and he turned heel. And by the way, Bret Hart at that time had far more accomplishments and was far more over than Roman Reigns has ever been. It's not even close. So what's new is not the fans deciding who they want to boo and who they want to cheer. What's new is the WWE being stubborn and refusing to call an audible on their plans. Insisting on pushing an individual in a role that people do not want him in. He is absolutely rejected. And their desperations are... The desperate attempts that they made to put this guy over is just unbelievable. They've tried guilting fans to it. Oh, he's a good guy. He's a good family man. And he's such a good person. How could anybody boo him? They tried that. They've tried the whole jealousy thing. Oh, it's because you know, their girlfriends have wet dreams about Roman Reigns. And that's really what it is. You know how stupid that is? I mean, seriously. I mean, this is getting out of hand. And then the whole reaction thing. Well, he gets a reaction, right? Well, he's getting force-fed to everybody. What do you want people to do when they don't want him there? They don't want their favorite wrestlers being fed to him. What do you want them to do? We've been fans of the product for decades. So when you say, well, if it wasn't for Roman Reigns, they wouldn't be watching. Are you fucking shitting me? Are you shitting me? This guy he's been reeking of a heel turn forever. And this idea that, oh, fans are just trying to be cool. You know, they just can't stand a guy that's over. No. When a wrestler is over, you do not have to justify it. He's just over. It's obvious, right? When a wrestler is over, it's obvious. It doesn't need to be explained. There's no acrobatics involved in it. It's obvious. There's been a lot of wrestlers. It's not about the fact that he's over or not over. I don't like him, but I also know he's not over. There's been wrestlers that have been over that I didn't like. I was never a fan of Hulk Hogan. I never liked Hulk Hogan. In my opinion, I always thought Hulk Hogan was lame. I always thought he was corny. I did like the NWO Hulk Hogan. I like that Hogan. But I'm talking about the Hulkamaniac Hogan. I was never a fan of his. But I knew he was over. I knew he was the flagship of the company. I knew that. Even though I preferred the tag team divisions with the Rockers and the Hart Foundation and Bret Hart as Intercontinental Champion, and you know, I prefer, you know, even the Macho Man, you know, wrestlers like that. I still acknowledge that the motherfucker was over, even though I didn't like him. There's been a lot of wrestlers that were over that I didn't particularly like. Goldberg was over in WCW. I wasn't a big fan of his, right? But I acknowledge that he was over. So this idea that you can't... I never liked John Cena. In fact, I thought John Cena should turn heel for the last 7 years now. I thought that. At least that's my opinion. But I acknowledge that even though I hated the thugonomic Cena, right? Even though I did not like that character, I thought it was corny, I acknowledge that he was over then. Roman Reigns has not been over since the Shield split up. He just hasn't. And it's a combination of things, you know, like, oh, it's just because the fans don't feel like he's earned his stride. Or, look, I don't care what it is in this whole reaction thing. So what happened to when Dolph Ziggler got the biggest pop imaginable when he won the World Championship, and then they had him lose the title right away? What happened then? What happened to the pop and the reaction then? Why didn't it matter then? What about the pop and the reaction that guys like Bray Wyatt get? I mean, Wyatt can't even get a fucking win at WrestleMania to save his life. And yet, I don't see him getting this push. AJ Styles gets a reaction. He's not getting pushed like this. There's plenty of guys that get reactions. Organically, by the way. And they're not pushed this way. You know, and you can't say this stuff on air because the show is kayfabe, right? But the reality is, from the outside looking in, it is obvious to see that this guy here, this Roman Reigns, has been rejected by the fans. Okay, for the most part. Are there some people that like him here and there? Of course. I mean, the fact that he wins every match, the fact that he kicks out of everybody's finishers, like, you don't want people to get mad about that? Of course, this whole Superman Reigns thing, I mean, it gets old. When I see wrestlers that I'm really looking forward to watching coming out of NXT, when I know in the back of my mind it's only a matter of time to defeat him to Roman Reigns. And then, of course, to finish off with Triple H. Well, Triple H recently came out. Well, Triple H and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho can't understand why people don't like Roman Reigns. I mean, it's not up to you guys to understand. The fans dictate that. You could have said the same thing about Bret Hart in the mid-90s when he was getting booed. But Triple H comes out and he says, well, he kind of is a heel, you know, because they boo him, but they want him to turn heel, but they're booing him. So they're getting what they want. No, we're not. Okay? We want him kayfabe heel, right? That's what we want. We don't want him being pushed as a baby face, okay, reaping those benefits when he hasn't earned them. That's it. All his matches, man, right hand, spear. That's all he's got. No creativity, no time to store. I mean, it's insane. On the mic, he sucks. He's not talented on the mic. He is being rewarded because he's getting rejected. I never seen something like this. They're using the rejection from the fans to reward him. This is insane. Honestly, it's insane. Plenty of wrestlers get a reaction from the crowd and never reap the benefits of this much praise. Ever. Or not praise, but push. Not to mention the backstage stories of guys like CM Punk saying, I was constantly told to make sure you make Roman look strong. I mean, it's obvious that these guys are instructed to make sure Roman looks strong. Like, everything revolves around Roman Reigns, the whole show around Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion for like 6-7 months. But everything was about Roman Reigns. He was still the headliner regardless. They still pushed him like that. They still found a way to put him in the last match. 3 WrestleManias in a row. I've never in my life, ever, seen something like this. So a lot of people have different conspiracies as to why. Okay, some of them are funny, like are Vince and Roman Reigns lovers. Like, I wouldn't go that far, right? I think that's crazy, but hey, I honestly think it's stubbornness. I think Vince McMahon tells himself, I'm going to get this guy over, whether they like it or they don't. I'm going to prove them wrong, and I'm going to make them love This guy. And the hate is growing, man. Every day he's getting hated more and more and more. I mean, he's not over. People know it's kayfabe, so him winning all the matches is not impressing people. How is it supposed to impress me that it wins all his matches when we know it's scripted? That's not going to get him over. Right? It's not. At Triple H acting like, wow, because, you know, fans are just different nowadays. I mean, who knows? You know, it's just that they just don't, you know, they're just rebelling against, you know, Reigns. And they're just trying to explain away, you know, why people just don't like Reigns. You know what it is? It's not just the fact that he's obviously being pushed as the guy when he hasn't earned it, okay? He hasn't shown the talent for it. It's not just that, okay? It's not just the fact that they have him win every match and kick out of everybody's finishers and multiple times, and that's not what that is either, okay? It's not the fact that they had him beat the shit out of the tag team champions just to try and put him over. It's not just the fact that they'll build somebody like Braun Strowman up just to have him get jobbed out to Roman Reigns in the end. It's not just the fact that in the back of our heads we know, you know, if we're looking for the glorious day of Bobby Roode going to Raw, he's eventually going to fall victim to Roman Reigns, right? It's not just the fact that we know that, you know. And it's not like him beating them makes him better, because we know it's scripted and we know it's kayfabe. It's not just that, okay? It's just the reality that he's not talented. Okay, he's not that good in the ring. He's not that good on the mic. Okay, he just isn't. He has a lot of work to do. The perfect move right now is to turn him heel. If the WWE did that, right, it would go along with what they've done in the past. They did it with The Rock. They did it with Bret Hart. Hell, Hulk Hogan, when he started getting booed, turned heel. Okay? When his act grew stale, he turned heel. And the fact that Roman Reigns is too good for that is outrageous. It is insane. And that's all I got to say about that. Tell me what you think. Give a comment, thumbs up, and peace.